How our boat is still floating, I don't know.
I don't think this is gonna go anywhere.
We came, we saw, we drank champagne.
We didn't have the smoothest start to our time in Santa Barbara, and you can go back to watch episode 7 for that. But things quickly improved once we got acquainted with our new anchorage. Santa Barbara was supposed to be a quick stop on the way to San Diego. Just a few days to visit Cosmo's former home port, but we ended up staying for 3 super fun-filled, really busy weeks. A lot of sailors will say that it's a bit unbearable to spend the night in the exposed bay, which can have some brutal swells rolling in, as you can tell from our masts bobbing side to side. But we were living rent-free in one of the prettiest coastal towns in California. When it got to rolling the anchorage, it gave us a perfect excuse to hop in the dinghy and go exploring downtown.
The coastline was an absolute dream, and if this looks like a movie set, it's because it's been in about 300 of them. There were palm-lined streets, great coffee shops, and everything was walkable, which kept us super fit. We were getting way beyond our 10,000 steps per day. When I say we walked everywhere, I truly mean it. We were walking to get our groceries at the Santa Fe market. We walked to the local community college stadium for our workouts, and we found an Amazon locker that we could easily walk to receive packages. I don't know how cruisers survive without these things. This is absolutely great.
Open locker?
All right. All right, so we'll be back here tomorrow. These are actually, it's to make it so my Ray Marine can read our Navionics SD card. So one win.
And the most California moment of our lives is going to the wine festival, sipping some Pinot, and spotting our boat anchored right across from the festival. Except our commute home was probably a bit different than the rest of the people here.
Look at this beautiful day.
Yeah, we lucked out.
I can't believe it's this pretty out.
One part of living on anchor that we really had to get used to was the daily dinghy ride, and some days we had an awesome commute. The unofficial and maybe illegal guest dinghy dock was about a 10-minute ride from the anchorage, underneath Stearns Wharf, which is the main wharf in Santa Barbara, through Santa Barbara Harbor, which was usually packed with other sailboats, fishing boats, racing sailors, and paddleboarders.
This is our secret squirrel dinghy spot.
Don't tell nobody.
We don't know if we can park here, but
We think we can.
yeah, there's no signs. There's no signs.
Because otherwise you're not.
And although the secret squirrel dinghy spot was free, as you know, free usually comes with a different kind of price. And at high tides, we struggle bus to get the dinghy out of the wharf. At one point, we were touching our noses to the pipes that hung underneath it just to be able to get out of there.
Of course, any time at anchor wouldn't be complete for us if it didn't involve a surprise project. This time, the outboard lift popped out of its socket and almost crushed Liya's foot. That's over 150 pounds on her toes. She could have ended up in the hospital like this guy. What should have happened was that pipe should have stayed on this ball joint here, but it kept popping out when we would lower our outboard, so we needed to find a fix. Everything's soaked and everything's dirty because we're still behind on projects,
And it rained.
and it might rain again, but I don't know, it looks like blue skies. But let's talk about what we're doing here. This kicks out this way, and we want to brace it to this guy. So this is 1.5 inches. This thing is something that you might have seen when two pipes come together and they have like a lip. This goes around that and keeps the two things snug. So it's gonna go here. Now I know what you're saying, Armand. Metal on metal, that's kind of scary. Well, I'm gonna use this tape. Actually, Liya's gonna help me with this. And when we find the position, we're gonna make a nice band of this so that it's real snug. Because we can crunch in on this, but you can't really crunch in. And by that, I mean tighten real hard on stains.
What about the ring that came with it?
We can add that, yeah, we can put it on, but it's really goes in between. I really wanted something that was flush here, but I couldn't find anything.
Mm-hmm.
This is more to like put two surfaces together. This is like a brewer's kit. So we can use that, but it won't really do anything, so. okay? We want to go as low as possible, right? All right, so there we are. And then I have this split 1 inch. This is a 1.5 inch. This is a 1 inch.
Question in the audience. Question in the audience.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put anything on the ball, on the little base, to make it more grippy?
We do, yeah. We have some grip tape, some VHB, which is like a rubbery tape. Yeah, this is my bag of goodies. So my I'm gonna try not to go downstairs below deck for any of these pieces. My goal is to think ahead. I'm trying to get better at thinking ahead and getting everything I need. So here we go. This, hey, that would be bad. Okay, this will go here. Okay, as suchly. This will go in here. As suchly.
And don't lose anything overboard.
Yes.
It's 28 feet down and I'm not diving.
Okay, so it's very mocked up, so it's not gonna be that loose, okay?
Yeah.
And now we'll have this piece, and I'm actually gonna open this right now. Fun fact, don't ever have these exposed because that's how you get this scar. So this will go here as suchly. This one we shall tighten as suchly.
So are you gonna be cutting steel?
Yeah, we're gonna cut steel right now. It'll be super simple, but it's not gonna be like with a power tool or anything. Okay, and now I'm gonna take this off. So careful, careful is the name of the game. I took off of a boat that sank as well. I love it when boats sink. No, I'm just kidding. That's a terrible thing to say. There was a boat in our boatyard that sank, and I had a free-for-all getting all this junk.
We didn't steal anything, okay? It was donated to us by the boatyard.
Yeah, I had permission.
We had permission.
So it'll go like this. Okay.
Well, it sank, but then they got it out of the water and they put it in the boatyard.
I didn't go swimming for stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so it'll go like this. And then this we're gonna cut so that it matches up perfectly with this. So my problem is, all right, we wrote to the company and they were like, yeah, you need to brace it to the stanchion. And I'm like, that wasn't in your directions. Your directions were exactly like this. So like, did they want, if this was down here, we wouldn't have this problem. But I don't think anybody has stanchions that are that, or this railing that's that low. So Liya, you're probably wondering, how are we gonna get this screw through this tiny hole?
That's exactly what I was wondering.
I'm just gonna make the hole bigger, so it's not that much. But we're super close. See how close we are? So I have a drill bit, and I'm gonna drill through and make the hole bigger. It's mandatory for everybody to do this when they put in the battery for some reason on drills. All right, so using a trick that I learned from Spirit Animal, thanks Raph, how do you measure the drill bit with this? You just line them up over each other. And if you can see the threads, then that means it's tight. And I can't see the threads, but barely. So this is gonna be very snug, which is what I want. I don't want any movement. So thanks, Raph, for that tip. We're just gonna hold it. In fact, I'm gonna go like this. Damn it. Where's my gaff?
Do you want your fish hook?
Better that than the drill.
Like a little tent.
Like a little tent. All right, so now we'll drill.
Is anything happening?
Oh yeah. There we're getting through. Want something wild? Listen.
Whoa.
That's how hot that stuff can get.
Okay.
Then we're gonna wash this area.
As Jay-Z once said, we're on to the next one. And by next one, on Smoko Sailing, we mean the next step.
We've got our thing. We're gonna call it a thing from now on. Our thing will line up like that. So we'll go like this and this, and it'll go inside there nicely. Isn't that nice?
Oh wow, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. We'll be able to really snug this puppy in. Okay, so that's our brace. I'm gonna come here and we gotta cut, make a line here. Okay, there's my line. So now, I do it again. And I wanna make sure I'm not walking. Which I won't after a little bit because you start to fall into the valley. And this is why stainless can be so sharp doing it this way.
Cool. Whoa!
So it's like that. What I like about that is there's not sparks going everywhere, all that garbage.
Boys and girls, don't touch that.
Yeah, this is so sharp. So let's test it.
We'll end up in the ER.
So now, let's pretend it's gonna go right here.
Yeah.
This will be tightened down, and there's a thing on here to pinch it into the stainless, but that is what's gonna keep us from moving this way, and it won't, because this won't move. It'll be so stuck in there, it won't move.
How's it gonna be stuck in there?
There is a pin right here,
Yeah.
that we're gonna really crank, and it actually pinches into the stainless, so it locks it.
Oh, it's really bright in here. Do we want some kind of reinforcement that connects that to the tow rail to prevent it from pivoting inwards, like towards inside the boat? I feel like it needs to be held by something on the tow rail.
When we ratchet this down, you'll see how hard it is to move it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna send that thing through, and then this will be disconnected, and I'll show you how it won't even move.
Okay. I think I'm just so traumatized from
no, it's understandable. No,
from the thing like pivoting and sliding onto my foot that I'm like, okay, I don't really see how this is going to be reinforced, but I think it's one of those things where I need to see it.
And I want you here for worst case scenario thinking. You know, I'm very optimistic and sometimes
I'm like doomsday.
So check out in here if you want to see real quick.
I'm here for doomsday thinking.
So ready for me to send it?
Yeah, full send.
All right. Now we're gonna clean this and make a rubber, basically like a gasket around the pipe so that it can really clamp on. Called Rescue Tape, I think is the actual brand. This is a knockoff, but it's self-adhesive tape and it's not sticky, which I like. So what we're gonna do is go around this pole, and Leah, can I get you to match it as perfectly as possible so that it like goes over itself?
But this sort of goes over itself.
Yeah, so when you're wrapping it, so it's not, I don't want it to be like a band. I want it to be like a band, not like a baseball bat wrapping, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, because we want it to be thick.
Okay.
So it's going to take a little bit of scheming.
Yeah.
I believe in it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be right, I mean, yeah, we want to be around that area.
Okay.
Well, let's just test it.
Yeah.
Is it snug, or do you want it snugger?
Could be
Let's do more.
More snug.
Okay, so how do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good. But I really do think that this is gonna keep the little clamp in place. But you know what? You'll never really know until you test it out. And I think that once we're done, I think that we should just have you hang on this thing and then see if that works. I mean, technically this is supposed to be for 250 pounds. Oh yeah, that's pretty. So now we're taking these little strips of VHB tape. It's a 3M product, very expensive. Armand told me, so I can't waste it. And then I need to like peel off the back of it, and then put it on to this grippy part.
Okay, so now I'm straight onto it.
Yeah.
See that? All right, so now I'll ratchet down from the bottom to the top.
Jazz major, everyone. Bachelor's degree in jazz performance. Talking about stainless steel. Look how far you've come. So proud of you. Another project done.
Yeah.
Checked off the list.
I don't think this is gonna go anywhere, but we have to test it.
So you guys like how Armand didn't want to sacrifice himself to be the test of this?
This water's dirty. This said don't swim in it.
Armand has a more novel solution. So that's 104 pounds. Hot diggity dog.
Like if this were our outboard.
So this is looking great.
Yeah, this is the same weight as our outboard. The problem was, as weight moved away from the boat, the top of the boom kicked out, or top of the mast, whatever you want to call it, walked out that way. No, walked out this way. And the foot kicked out that way. So now we have lateral support.
Feels good.
We're gonna beef up some other areas.
Feels a little.
And this hardware might get beefed up too.
Yeah, this line is chafing. Yeah.
But this is a good fix.
Yeah. This also, it may turn into like one of those clamp cleats. I don't know how you would call them.
Yeah.
But
cool. Let's drop it. But this looks good.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 weeks into cruising, and we've learned something, and that our system isn't able to handle the demands that we have.
Thanks to my complaining, my frequent complaining, what happened was we've been only on solar and we've had issues running certain things. We do have things that are 12 volt, but not all things are 12 volts. We've had issues running the water heater, the kettle, the Instant Pot, Starlink, and it's been weird because we've had sunny days. There's been a lot of times where I'm like, hey Armand, WTF, you said I could use my Instant Pot. Yeah. We're only using the Instant Pot, nothing else is like turned on. Like, what's the issue?
Well, yeah, we're a little stressed out because like this morning we woke up almost full charge, and I cooked some water in the water heater. I made 2 pots of coffee. And
which is a very low...
Yeah, it's a low draw, yeah. And then you want to toast bread, and we dropped so low that the inverter shut off. So
my alarms went off because I said, hey, we have awesome solar, the full sun's out, and we just replaced our batteries to really awesome lithium battle-borne batteries. So, like, what's the deal here?
Yeah. So the deal is, we're not charging our battery bank to its maximum potential. So we need something that can pump in more amperage. And I say more. Our solar can only do 30 amps. Solar is like a slow charging over time. It's not like a boost, right? Like you would never... So we need to get a generator.
Props to Battleborn because we called them this morning and their customer service is spectacular. The guy explained it in the way that I could understand it.
Yeah.
A little disappointed because the way that we installed things, we had someone help us, and I think that they weren't as much of an expert as I think they claim to be, so...
Yeah. So we're going to shop around, we're going to find a nice generator, and then we're going to live the generator life.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is getting more solar panels, and that's another thing that we've been considering down the road, because we have been considering getting dinghy davits off of our stern. Right now, our dinghy's in the water all the time, and we feel like it's safe, but lifting it, we have like this complicated system using the lines. So it's not, I don't want to do that every single night. And if we do dinghy davits, I think that there's going to be an option to put some solar panels above it. And that might be a part of the solution. So that
we're gonna do some research, but
this is another problem that we discovered, and we found a solution for it, and so we're gonna get it resolved. And so I think it's good that we're taking care of all of this before we get down to Mexico.
Big day.
Super stoked because our
sorry, I can't focus.
The Jenny got here.
So pumped. Big day.
Armand got so excited he's gonna open up the package early.
Little baby 25 hundo.
Don't drop that. Although if you do, it's okay, because Amazon can get you one in 2 days.
No, we're running this right away. Okay, at first look, I'll say this thing's smaller than I thought, so it's pretty nice, and it's also not as heavy. I mean, I can lift it one hand super easily. My first time using this generator, followed the instructions. You know, I never used to follow directions until I started this cruising life because I was just reckless. But pretty simple. Oil, check. Gasoline, check. Turn it to on, set it to run, pull out the choke, pull the handle, and then push the choke in, then plug in your stuffs. Let's see if it works. Okay, we're in business. All right, and the manual says to start it up, then plug in all your electrical stuff. I hate plugging in electrical stuff while something is generating energy like that, but whatever, it's just an extension cord, so let's do it. I'm gonna monitor how much electricity we're using or generating. Well, had to shut this off. This red light here, which says over, was blinking a ton. It was making a lot of noise, getting very hot. I think I smelled some smoke coming out, and it was plugged into our boat, so that's never a good thing. I'm not sure if the generator is messed up. This isn't like a brand name. It's kind of a knockoff of a Honda. Maybe I just hurt something, but try not to freak out.
You want to talk about generators? Let's talk about generators. And you just take it out of the box, plug it in, and it's good to go.
Which actually is exactly what we did.
Life is easy. Plot twist. Did you tell them that life wasn't easy? That
no, I haven't gone anywhere because someone keeps interrupting. I should have known that you can't just plug something into your, heavy battery system that has a lot of complexities and just expect it to work. Realized I needed to do some settings. So we have an inverter, the multi+2. And here's what was going on. There's this thing called a current limit on my multi-plus. It was set to 16 amps. What that means is the multi-plus demands from an outside source. Long story short is my multi-plus was demanding more than the generator, which is why the generator was saying overload. Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. So I cried a little bit, I screamed a little bit, we went to the gym and I beat myself up. So what I've done now is I've used my current limit thing and I've dialed it down to 10. It's supposed to be at 12.6 was the recommendation because 12.6 times 120 volt. Oh, math in here, right?
Yeah.
And now I adjusted the current limit to 10, which is way below, but because I want to play it safe.
Just for safety.
So let's start it and see if our generator runs without the overload button.
Yeah.
Because that's what was happening. It was going to overload and we were all freaking out. So let's try this thing out and hopefully it goes well. And if not, we're not going to freak out. We're just going to do some more research. But I've done 2 settings on my multi-plus because it's like a chain reaction. Okay, what do you want to use? We want to use appliances. Okay, how do the appliances get powered? Through our batteries. Okay, how do the batteries get powered? Through our multi-plus. Okay, how are you charging your multi-plus? Via solar and our gen set. Okay, so you can't make settings on the generator, but you can make settings on the multi-plus, which is what I do. A lot of variables. Yeah, a lot of variables. But let's go up and either cry or jump for joy. Yeah. All right, so I'm like the opposite was yesterday. Today I'm like very careful. Yesterday I was just plugging shit into my boat. So, all right, we're at 10 now. Let's go to 12. And we're gonna go to charger only mode as well. Let's see what this pulls from the machine. According to my math, 12.6 is the highest that I should have been going with this. The rated output of this guy is 1900. Yep, all right, so 12 is good. So I'm still below the demands of the generator. In theory, my current setting before, like yesterday when I was freaking out, was demanding 2000 from this machine. So I've just brought it down quite a bit. I don't actually know how much I'm going to demand from it right now, but it's way below. I think it's 1,520 watts. So let's start this. We're going to watch our charger. I don't want this light to go on. This puppy was going off. So let's do it. All right, we're at 12.5 volts. We're a little low, but it's overcast. So eco mode on. Start. Turn this to on as well. I'm going to run a little bit. Plug in 120. And hopefully this doesn't turn on. Pumping almost 1,000 watts. This sounds better already, right, Liya?
Yeah, well, the light's not blinking, so
yeah.
I'm happy.
We were also smelling some smoke before we set it off last time.
We did.
Did you smell a little bit of exhaust? It was a little smoky. I think it's because this guy was working hard. Now it's not overload. I'm feeling very happy about this. All right, so I'll be here for about 10 more minutes. I'm just going to watch everything. Okay.
Santa Barbara taught us a lot about what we needed to make this lifestyle sustainable. And for now, we had just enough power to keep the lights on and the projects rolling. But we're not done yet. In the next episode, we'll show you our final days here and how we started tackling one of our biggest upgrades yet. And then we have some beautiful champagne sailing to now what we call the most beautiful place in Southern California.